Sports Talk Nation. Welcome back once again. It's your host, the G-Man, as we continue with Phase 2 of our college overview for the Cappers Corner. We're going to jump right to it. I'll spare you the details of the first one. If you missed anything, go ahead back, listen to the first one. Lots of great information there. Of course, I think so since I said it. But without further ado, here we go. So, specific trends for different teams coming into this year, and I mentioned I'm not a huge trend guy, but this is just kind of an overview. Mississippi State will take a major step back. They have no Prescott, and they lost their defensive coordinator. Their offense and defense are both going to suffer. Do not think of Mississippi State as a team that's on the rise anymore. I think they're going to struggle tremendously. Nevada, finally going to move back to a high-octane pace that's going to lead to a lot of points. Now, they're not an overly talented team, so there's still going to be some sloppiness. There's still going to be some turnovers. With that comes opportunities for total overs as well, not just team totals. Although sometimes they don't play against the best competition either. So just look for them to be high octane. They're also a game and a type of team that people don't bet a ton on, so you might find some value in their games early in the season. Notre Dame, they are wildly popular, and usually I hate betting on teams that are wildly popular. Plus, I also have a penchant for betting against Notre Dame because I just despise them, and I despise that they're considered an elite franchise, despite the fact that they never win anything anymore. With all that said, they cover. The last few years, especially under Kelly, even without the offense in place that you would think they need, they have covered, except when they play, like a bowl game or something like that. But usually against a team with superior talent to them, they're going to lose, and you know that. Other games, they cover. So look to use Notre Dame, despite the fact that everyone else in the world is going to be on them. Oklahoma, same deal as it always is for them. They're going to score a ton of points. They're going to win a ton of games, and then they're going to lose when it really matters. Unfortunately, I'm off the Stoops train, so that's where I see them being, but that doesn't mean there's not some value in gambling on them. The good news is I'm not an Oklahoma fan. I'm just an Oklahoma gambler, so I'm okay with it. Oklahoma State, their scoring is going to increase dramatically this year. They played a lot of young kids. Second half of last year, their scoring picked up a lot. They picked up Gundy's system, who, by the way, as an aside, had the greatest rant ever when he was yelling that he was a man, he was 40, so they stopped making fun of his quarterback. But they're going to score a lot of points this year. Penn State, another team that I love to bet against, and as a Temple fan, I love the fact that we finally beat them in like first time in 100 years last year. They are finally going to open up their attack. I think they have to do that because they don't have the big statue quarterback anymore, and they realized that what they were doing just wasn't working. So I think they're going to score some points. I think the defense is also going to take a step back, so you'll be surprised. Penn State's a team that usually has fairly low over-unders. Look for some overs out of Penn State this year. San Diego State, bet them in conference, whether it's home or away, they win their conference game by double digits. Now, a lot of times they're going to be favored by close to double digits, but if you see San Diego State with under a 10-point line, go ahead and jump on it in conference. South Carolina, don't bet on their name. They struggled last year. I expect more of the same. They're just not as good of a team. They don't have the talent. Maybe they have some younger talent that over the course of time will get better, but they're going to struggle mightily. Don't be on them. Stanford, don't bet on that name either early. They have a tough schedule. They have a lot of replacements to make. I like their coach. I like David Shaw. I think he'll get it figured out. He'll be in the contest for the Pac-12 at the end, but they're going to take a little step back early, so don't bet on them. TCU is going to drop off as far as they're not going to win 12 games. They're not going to be in the hunt for the playoffs or anything like that. They're still going to score, though, because Patterson believes he's kind of built something there, and he's built a style that's going to work. They have a transfer quarterback coming in, so they're still going to score some points. All right, so spoiler alert, I'm a Temple alumni, so I'm biased. However, in addition to being biased, I also have access and information about them that other people may not have. They're not going to take too deep a step back this year. I think Matt Rule is the real deal at coach. I think the offense will probably be a little better because they're really going to finally get Walker under control. They realize what he is, right? First they thought he was a running quarterback. He's not that. Then they thought he was a up-tempo passing quarterback. He's not that either. He's a good, stable quarterback who should use his backs more than he does. And the defense, despite losing 3 draft picks in the NFL, is going to be sound. So they're still going to be a good team. Bet on them in conference for sure. I think they're going to have an 8 or 9 win season. Tennessee, well, if they're not really good this year, their coach is getting fired, so I expect them to be pretty good, and I expect them to score some points. They have a diverse two-way quarterback. They also have a big-time running back. They always have skill positions in receivers, and their defense is always fast. So I expect Tennessee to be pretty good this year. Texas A&M, They're going to have increased scoring. They're not going to have increased wins. They're not going to be very good. I think teams have kind of caught on to who and what they are. So they've lost a lot of talent because of their attitude and some problems with their recruiting system. So I expect they're still going to score, but I don't expect them to do real well. Here's a sleeper for you. Other players won't be on this because they're a small school. Texas State. Texas State is going to have huge total points. They're going to win. Their totals are going to be high, and they're still going to go over. They play at a breakneck speed, and their defense is awful. So if you can, get Texas State early in the week when the line opens up, when the over-under starts. Say it starts at 66. By the end of the week, it'll be 72. Bet it early. Texas Tech, points both ways, same as ever. Kingsbury hasn't changed much. He has a huge pace. I love watching them play. It's so much fun to watch. They're going to give up 40. They're going to score 40. It's a matter of who has the ball last. It's almost like an arena game. So there's going to be a lot of points. Their over-unders are pretty high. Look for value in one of the team totals if you think they're superior to another team because they don't take their foot off the gas. Another sleeper team that a lot of guys don't know about, Troy. Troy is moving to a high-octane quarterback-driven system. They're going to score a ton of points this year. You might find value in them because they're just not that popular to bet on. Tulsa's going to score in waves versus bad teams, but they're going to lose to the good teams. So be careful who you play Tulsa against, but there's some value to be had there. If there's a close spread and they're a favorite, you want to look real closely at that game, see if you think they're superior. They're going to score versus the bad teams. USC is not what they were. Don't get duped by the name. They're going to have a much tougher year. Their system is fine. They'll probably put up points against bad teams, but they're not going to be very good. South Florida. So USF, despite my love for Temple, they're only getting better. They're going to score continually because they found their quarterback. Their defense is pretty good. They're going to be a good team. They're probably Temple's main competition in conference. South Florida is a good team to bet on, and they're not real popular, so you can get some value there. Virginia finally has a new coach, which is going to lead to more wins and, thank God, some more offense. They always had a really, really strong defense, and because of the previous recruiter, that defense is still there. That offense is going to pick up. I think Virginia is going to win some more games. You can feel more comfortable betting on them in close matchups. Washington. We're going to have lots of early success with Washington. Their schedule is just not that difficult. Their system is finally implemented. The players buy into what the coach is saying. Lots of love early for Washington. Washington State, just bet on the points. They're going to score. It's going to be almost every time up and down the field those teams are going to score. Again, totals are going to be very high, but look to enjoy it and watch the game and get a little something on the over because it's still probably going to go over. Western Kentucky, nothing changes. Yeah, they lost their quarterback. They lost a bunch of players. They lost their All-America tight end. Doesn't matter. The system's in place. They try to get a playoff every 12 seconds. The other team eventually falls down by 2 scores, has to comply. Western Kentucky's going to put up 45 points a game. So if that team total is anything under 40 or the game total is anything under 70, bet it automatically. I love Western Kentucky. So now you guys see my penchant, right? I always talk about betting on the over and the team totals over because I don't bet on unders. All of the individual bets during a given week we'll talk about, as we'll have a weekly update of the College Cappers Corner where I go through specific games. If there's games you want to hear about, games you have an interest in, I'll be more than happy to give my opinion. Again, I'm not a tout. I'm not an expert. I'm not selling anything. All I am is a guy who gambles, been gambling for years. I've been in the plus for the last 3 years, which is pretty good, and it's fairly significantly in the plus. I'd like to share my information with people. Love to hear what you guys have to say about it. So enjoy the Cappers Corner as we go through the year, guys. As always, I am your host, the G-Man, and I am out.